Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mindfully Curious podcast. My name is Steph, and I will be your guide during this journey. So, the episode today, I will be chatting with my friend Colin Peterson. Colin is the man behind the amazing pottery brand Trim Pottery. You can connect with him on Instagram at Trim Pottery. That's at TRIMPOTTERY. I'm excited to share this conversation with you guys because Colin is one of the funnest conversation people I've ever met. Wait, that sounded weird. Anyway, he's really fun talking to him. And he's also a super chill, super centered person. I met him while I was doing a stay in the Redux Contemporary Art Center. We both had art studios there. And since he does pottery, I would often see him outside. So, of course, since we were both spending time outside and a lot of time in the studio, we would always get together for safety meetings and just kind of start talking about random life things. And we had so many dope conversations without really even knowing each other. So I'm super happy to share this conversation with him. He has had a super full life, tons of experiences, and he just shares so much of himself and his life and his work through this conversation. I'm so happy that you guys are here, and I cannot wait to hear what you think about this episode. As always, if you have an extra minute, don't forget to click the 4 or 5 stars on your whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on today. Shoot me a review. Send me some feedback. Let's make this conversation more than one-sided. If you look at the show notes, you will be able to find a link where if you feel called to, you're able to send me a voice message. You can send me your feedback via that voice message, or if you want to send a shout out to your mama, your dog, your grandpa, whatever. If you have a message you want to share on the show, I would be happy to facilitate any, all, or whatever of that I can. And now, without further ado, my friends, here's the conversation with Colin Peterson. All right, Colin, thank you so much for being here, man.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure. I know you reached out a while back, and I was like, that sounds great. And it's so random. I randomly will it'll pop in my head dude, what's up on that podcast? What's up on that podcast? And finally, I was just like, I'm gonna hit her up and see what's up on this podcast. And then here we are.
Dude, I'm so glad you did. That's it's time to go back to it. To go back to it.
Yeah, no. So, just gotta crack the whip and get on it. But I'm here.
That's the truth, dude. So if you don't mind, maybe we could start with going back to basics. What was life growing up for you?
Oh man. I'm so fortunate to have kind of the life I've had growing up. I've just had amazing parents, my brother, even, cousins, aunts, uncles, all that. All my family, we're all been very close since as long as I can remember. And they've always just been that kind of support structure for me. So growing up, I was born in Miami, Florida.
Damn.
Yeah, Miami. I'm tropical.
Wow, dude.
I'm tropical, man. So I was born in Miami, and I was there until I was about 8 years old. And then at that time, Hurricane Andrew came and just destroyed that area, and we lost our house. So my parents, basically, we spent some time in Miami just like fixing up the house, and then Miami was just kind of, I think it turned into a really sketchy place at that time. And my parents were like, we gotta go. We got two little kids. Like, this isn't where we want to be. So let's go somewhere else. And my mom's older sister was in a place called Wilmington, North Carolina, which just so happens to be probably like the second most hit place by hurricanes on the East Coast. We just
Oh
like
shit.
go to that spot. But so we decided to move up to Wilmington, North Carolina, and I moved there when I was 8, and I've been there until, I moved to Charleston about almost like 3 years ago, maybe 3 years and a month or something like that, if you want to be specifically accurate. But yeah, about that long ago. So, I lived in Wilmington for most of my life, and then went to East Carolina University for college. So that's when I left Wilmington, finally got out somewhere like kind of new and different, away from the parents and the family and all that, and got to kind of come into my own thing. And it was incredible. It's probably one of the greatest situations I could have been in. Like, I guess going to college is can be a little daunting. You want to make sure you're going to like a good college for whatever it is that you're doing. And I knew I was going into art. And so, yeah, I was very fortunate getting into East Carolina, because it really opened up a lot for me. But yeah, so I guess that was kind of like my beginnings story. But continue on. I don't know if you want me to go more in depth on like my actual childhood and all that sort of stuff. Like that time I almost drowned, or things like that.
All right. That time I almost drowned sounds interesting, but I will say we'll touch on that in a second. That one time I almost drowned, dude. You have a lot of survival stories, man.
Yeah,
You really do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But is the time like when you joined college and you knew, like, you joined in knowing that you were going for art? So was that like an easy decision for you? And I ask because for me, I tried going to college for art a couple times, but I always kind of ran the numbers and I was like, well, I'm probably not going to make enough money to like pay this off or whatever.
Yeah,
How about you?
Oh, I don't know if I'm one of those people that's like, I always knew I was an artist, like that. Like I came out of the womb painting or something. I can't ever say that, but I think the earliest memory I have when I did something like not creative, but like artistic, was I was like, oh man, probably like 6 or 7. And I was at this place with I think it was called Black Point. It was in Miami. I could be wrong about the name, but my mom, my brother, and I would always go there. My dad would be like working during the day. So we would go there and we'd go like see the manatees down here at this spot or whatever. And there was like this restaurant there. And I think I had taken a napkin and my mom like just had a pen for me to doodle or something. And I drew like a seagull.
Dude.
Apparently it was like, I don't know. My mom was like, wow, that's really good. My brother's like, wow. And that was the first time I ever thought, oh my gosh, I did something really cool that was like artistic. And then after that, I think it was just always being more driven towards those things in school, like whether it was, in elementary school or whatever. Like it was always those projects that I had the most fun or always did the best on, like, I don't know, I was just always really enjoyed those aspects. And then specifically with like what I do with pottery and ceramics, like I had 2 aunts on my dad's side. Basically my dad's brother's wives. All right. So 2 of them are ceramic artists. So my Aunt Maureen and my Aunt Ronnie. So I was actually I was surrounded by that sort of stuff when I was young, because they lived in Florida as well. And we all lived really close to each other. So I'd always be around their house and I'd always see, whatever it was that they were making, and they were more on the hand building side of stuff. So it was different than what I do now. But, I still like remember some of those things. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So that helped kind of, I feel like, guide me.
For sure.
Being in school and stuff, and then having certain teachers that I can actually remember the names of and like remember them. And like, I still have some that I talk to, but like my elementary teacher, Miss Kanapi, She was great. She was my art teacher for that. She was like the person that told me when you were drawing like a landscape, not to put a sun in the corner of the page, in the top corner of the page. She's like, no, don't draw. Let's not cheat. You know, that's a cheap way to do it. And I remember that shit. I mean, I was like 10 or 9 or something maybe, or younger. And I remember that. I'm like, oh my God, like she taught me that. And then in high school, my probably one of my biggest influences for at least what I do with like pottery and stuff was my high school teacher, Mr. Boyd, Alan Boyd. And I still converse with him like regularly.
Nice.
Still in Wilmington. And when I go home to visit, him and I will try and link up and go surf and stuff like that. Like, so I've always had a really close connection with him, but he was my pottery teacher in high school, and just like an awesome guy, but really kind of got me interested in pottery more so than just like seeing my aunt's stuff, like doing actual like pottery on the wheel, throwing vessels and stuff like that. And then also some more hand building things too. And that's when I was like really like, whoa. And yeah, and then when I got to college, I knew I wanted to do art. But I actually went to college initially majoring in drawing and painting. So, because I was always really big into drawing, like forever. And I mean, I'm sure that everyone around my age could probably say the same. We're younger. I just drew the shit out of some Dragon Ball Z. I was all about anime.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z. I was all about doing like Vegeta's eyes and his eyebrows and all that, and like his hairline. I was like, oh, that's so tight. I always was drawing that sort of stuff. So I think my line work was pretty decent, like pretty well established, but I was drawing like cartoons and things and not drawing from life. So when I got into drawing and painting, like it was a little bit of a wake up call for me. I was like, whoa, what? Like we're not drawing anime. What is this? Like figure drawing and stuff like that. And it was way, way different than what I was expecting, but it was like really interesting. And there's things I've learned from drawing and painting that transfer over to my pottery, and just in life in general, just the way I see the world. So that was really big. I had a professor named Catherine Walker, who was my figure drawing professor. And I remember I was in class and she's like walking around, student to student, checking on everyone's work. And she comes around and sees mine. And she's like, I think you really need to, she was English. She's like, I think you really need to consider while you're in art, and you should probably think about doing something different. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? And bear in mind, this is with like art school and stuff, like there's that weeding out process that everyone has to kind of endure the first year or whatever it is, right? Where teachers and students, like that's when you learn how to like do critiques and things like that. And you're not supposed to be nice about it. And like there's people crying.
Yeah, because the people on the Instagram are not going to be that nice either.
Oh, no. So it's like people crying and stuff like that, and then you have to deal with like your professors and your teachers being like absurdly critical and like cruel about what you're doing. You're like, oh, but it's like, that's the type of shit. Like if you can't overcome that initial shock and like, how no one's ever said that about my stuff. Like, well, then you're probably not cut out for this. So I was like, oh my God, she told me that I'm not good enough to be an artist. I was like, and then that was like a fire that she lit under my ass. And I and I think, and I'm sure she was, but she was doing it intentionally, trying to get more out of me. And I was like, I'm going to show her, blah, blah. And I turned it around. I think I was making like a D in that class, and I turned out making like a B, which I was like stoked on because I definitely like busted my butt in that class. But I did drawing, I did like painting, I did metals work and sculpture and things like that. But I kept kind of getting drawn back to pottery or ceramics, and I took a ceramics class, and my professors there were Jim Tisnato and Seo Ao, and both of them were like, I guess, kind of courting me to see if I wanted to, like, hey, what do you think about doing, ceramics? You're pretty good at it, And I was like, I don't know. I want to do painting. I want to do drawing. I like wanted to be do like character design for video games and stuff, like do the initial sketches and drawings and things like that. I'm like, come up with stuff like that. That was my initial idea.
Dude,
When I
that is a huge contrast from like such a technical, like even corporate job to what you do today, like so hands-on, like just you, like wow, that's
yeah,
pretty
it's
cool.
way different, way different. So and then yeah, no, it was after taking those ceramics courses, and then um, I think what probably helped push me over towards ceramics more, or just like off the edge into that realm, was just the area I was in southeastern North Carolina, but or yeah, give or take, or more eastern North Carolina, whatever. And North Carolina is a pretty huge pottery state. It's like we're really well known for that sort of stuff. We have like all these really amazing clays throughout majority of the state, specifically like in the Piedmont area.
Wow.
Where you have like Seagrove and I think Stars out there and some other places like that. Some big spots where some big pottery stuff has gone down historically accurate, like
Nice.
historical and important for ceramics and pottery. Like stuff's gone down in that area. So I think that's being there really helped because I was like really um just like inundated with that. It was everywhere. And there were potters like Ben Owen who were like really huge, not just in North Carolina, but in general. And, he came and like gave a talk to us and like, just like, I don't know, 10, 12 students or something like that. And showed us how he did his forms and stuff. So like I was getting exposed to all sorts of cool stuff. And it just so happened some of these big wigs just were in the state and we could easily access, they were easily accessible and we can get there. So I think that was one thing that kind of maybe helped me out. And then also my professors were just like so awesome. They're like the coolest guys, and I was just like, oh, I want to be like them. Like, man, they got it going on. So I just,
Dude.
yeah, I don't know. I guess I just kind of got sucked into that whole, like the realm of pottery. I think another reason is like, I really enjoy the idea of having functional art, something that can serve multiple purposes and aside from just being looked at, like I want it to be able, you would be able to like, look at it, but also like pour water out of it or whatever it is. Like for me with my mugs or people's mugs that I collect, like it's like every time I drink coffee, yeah, I'm drinking out of the mug, but then like put it down, I'm like looking at it like, oh my God, there's a new spot I haven't even seen because this glaze is so intricate or whatever it may be. So, yeah, I don't know. I just like started really fall in love with it and it just keeps going. I haven't really stopped. I don't think I'll ever stop doing it. It's seriously like it is ingrained in my life. It's that important to me. So whether I
Hell
make,
yeah, dude.
yeah,
Well, it really sounds like in a way the universe has like curated like little bits of synchronicity with the whole pottery thing since the beginning of your life, from you being exposed to your aunts and the state that you moved to being such a big pottery state. And it also kind of sounds like you were interested in that whole special clay situation because it sounds like to me you're interested in like finding sustainability and making the most out of things. Like you mentioned, like, hey, it's cool that I have functional art, so that kind of seems to be like the theme, it's like let's make the most out of this. So that's pretty dope. Let's put a pin on pottery and go back to that story about you almost drowning and surfing. I know surfing is like one of the big things that you do in your life that I think is impressive because I think surfing is dope, but I've definitely been bitch slapped by some waves before and I'm a little bit scared. I'm not the best swimmer.
there's shits now. Mother Nature don't care. Mother Ocean, she don't give a shit. She'll take you out straight up. Yeah, surfing's like it's you know goes hand in hand. Same with skating and pottery are these like three facets of my life that have a lot of importance. Things I've been doing for a long time and things that I'll do until I am incapable for whatever reason. Like I want to skate until I physically like can't stand up to do it.
So
Whatever.
hopefully until you die.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Same with surfing and same with pottery. There are things that are so important. And I started surfing when I was like 10 years old. We weren't surfing in Miami when I was living there. Just because Miami doesn't really get that great of waves most of the time. They can get really awesome swell, but it's got to be probably like a hurricane or some like crazy winter swell that for some reason hits. But normally it's not really that great. Like here in Folly Beach.
Big ass waves over there.
Yeah, cranking. So when we moved to Wilmington, my parents were like, "Oh, the boys might be into surfing." And Wrightsville Beach is like the beach that I grew up hanging out at and surfing and stuff. And that's probably got the best waves. It's got pretty good waves for that area, especially for like the Southeast. It's pretty decent. It's still the Southeast, so it's not that great, but better than a lot of other spots. And yeah, so we did surf lessons, my brother and I, and yeah, we just kept going with it. And it's just something that's literally like, same with my brother. My brother lives in Hawaii, he lives on the South Shore of Oahu. So, I mean, he surfs like every single day and gets to surf good waves all the time. So I go to visit him and stuff, but it's just something that's been a part of our lives, like my brother too, like forever. And it's super important to us. So, and that's like why my brand I came up with, Trim Pottery, is it's a kind of this word that has two meanings for me. It's like trim is, yes, a process that you do to take clay off of your piece as you're working on the wheel, right, with your trimming tools and whatnot. But it's also a term for a way to generate speed from a wave while like utilizing the curvature of that wave and the energy. You're kind of working in kind of unison with the wave, just like how when you're on the wheel and your pot, you and your hands and the tool you have, they're all working together, right? And that to me was what kind of I wanted for at least my brand when I made it. I was like, I wanted to have like all these things that I love, like kind of embodied in the brand, and so like surfing, huge for me, and pottery and skateboarding. I mean, they're like my favorite things for sure.
So what do you think your biggest lesson from surfing has been? Like if you had to just narrow it down to one or two.
Like
Because I
less,
feel,
like you're saying, like what have I gotten from surfing? Like
yeah,
what?
because I mean, like just a little background on my question. Just from like people that I've heard that surf, I don't remember the name of the book, but there's like actually a lot of books about people that have surfed and how they say like surfing is like kind of a really spiritual experience in a way. And not just surfing, but also like extreme sports because of that whole flow state thing. I don't know if you've ever heard about flow states, just saying that when you're doing
I've
things
heard
that
of
push you
it.
to the limit, like
Yeah.
you're so absorbed in it. Like if you're like in a huge wave, like you cannot give your mindfulness and your attention to a little doubt that say, hey, you're really stupid, you suck at surfing, because your life depends on it. So you don't
Yeah.
fuck with that shit. Like you stay focused and in the flow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that makes total sense. Yeah. I mean, most definitely. Like, I don't know. Surfing for me it's taught me a lot. Patience is definitely one of them. And then I think like the whole spiritual aspect of it, just being out there in the ocean, being around nature, literally utilizing nature to have fun and enjoy yourself, and that we've like figured that out as a species. Like, yeah, if we do this, we can actually ride this thing like and have fun. Yeah, it's a game. And excuse me, it's so
Sympathy.
yeah, it's taught me a lot about that, like patience, meaning like whether there's a lot of people in the lineup and you're like waiting for your wave, or the waves aren't even that good, or you're not, it's flat, you're not going to get a swell for another like week or whatever. Like I had to learn to be patient about that sort of stuff. But yeah, just like that. And then I mean, it's just a whole nother feeling. It's truly an amazing thing. And just for me, I'm just such like a water person. Just to be surrounded in my element is just like, I mean, my spirit animal is definitely a sea otter. Like I can just lay on my back and just eat some nice clams or something. Break
Dude,
that thing
sea
off.
otters are so chill.
Rock on my stomach. I gotta break these oysters up, man. No, yeah. So for me, that was like surfing. It's taught me a lot. Definitely a lot about myself too, and and just not to take yourself so seriously. A lot of people, and I mean, it happened to me, but you get into a point sometimes where you kind of just like, if you get good enough, you kind of, at some point in time, I'm sure you just walk around a little bit, or you're surfing and you kind of think like, oh man, my shit doesn't stink, and you just gotta like, be honest, sometimes you just gotta get humbled by a wave or someone who's better than you, whatever it is. So, so yeah, just, taught me just have more fun, not be so serious about it. Like I was trying so hard to like be the cool surf dude, and like wear a certain thing or whatever for a while. And I'm just like, dude, what? You're not going pro. Like, just stop. Just stop. Go have fun. Like everybody else is doing, don't try and land the air every section you see.
Live your life, not somebody else's.
Yeah, right. So it's just, yeah, it's been a huge, played a huge role in my life for sure.
That's really awesome, because I feel like those lessons of being open to making an ass out of yourself, like going out on a wave and just eating it, being vulnerable, and then also, like learning that humility of like not being like, oh look, I'm like the big cheese over here,
Yeah,
really are helpful skills to have when you're practicing creativity, especially as a professional, because you might make something and it might not sell for like 2 years, and it's like how you really do need that patience. Do not like say, oh, you suck, nobody wants to buy this, like you've been holding on to this for a year, because that's not what it is. So that's really cool that you kind of had that training really in like patience and humility. That's really cool through surfing. And then did you start like skating about the same age that you started surfing, or was
I
that?
started surfing at 10 and skating at 13, and skating
Damn.
was like, skating came to me because when it was flat, it was like, what do you do? I'm like, I want to surf. It's like, okay, well, just get your skateboard and there you go. Start surfing that. And yeah, I remember my first skateboard was a zero deck that my dad got me from this place called Aussie Island, which was like a surf shop. Still is in Wilmington. And you could go in there and like it's a board. I think it has like a gray like hawk or something, or a silver hawk on there, whatever. And like you can't see it, but we get out of the store and like I flipped the board over, and on the graphic you couldn't see it because it was like the whole board was black. The hawk thing was, I don't know, like silver or whatever. And then couldn't see, but there was these little words everywhere in this sort of really dark gray. You can only see in the sunlight, but it was just like curse words like fuck, shit, tits, dick, whatever. And my dad was like, oh my God. And he goes, don't tell your mother. And I was like, okay. And I was like, my first skateboard. And I don't know what it was. I just kept doing it. And then dudes in my neighborhood, like one of my best buddies, Terrell, started doing it, and his brother Richard, and then like everyone in the neighborhood was doing it. And then we had a whole crew, and then just was like normal, just meet up, go skate. Like my brother was skating, all his friends were skating. So we all would go skate together and just like have missions. And I still do it. There's really not a lot of people that keep going with it. I know a lot of people that started skating and then just like, they're just like, I can't get hurt because of my health insurance or whatever it is. I mean, I didn't have health insurance for like 7 years and was skating. That was like the hardest I skated. I was like, whatever. It's like, if I fall, it must mean I'm not good or something. But I just, yeah, there was those people that just kind of stop. And to me, I was always like, why though? Like, if you can still go and you still enjoy it, like, why? And then their injuries or just life, I guess, gets in the way. And I hear like there's times I can't go skating for a while, but I still at least try to be active somewhat. But skating was just always a great outlet to be creative, to do. I think with skateboarding, the thing that I learned with that, aside from like obviously patience and things like that, is just like how not to give up. Like you just continue. You can spend all day trying the same trick over and over and over and over and over again. And then you might try it 100 times or 99 times and then land it once, but it's all worth it for that one land. And you're like, oh, and you lose your mind. And then you've landed it. You've conquered that mountain. And it's like, you're here. But now it's like, okay, now you got to land it consistently. And then that's how you just build upon. So, and then like, you know, just like with any form of art, you have your own sort of style, your own unique flair. And with surfing, that's very apparent. But it's a lot more apparent with skateboarding. I think there's a lot more unique styles in skateboarding than there are in surfing. I think surfing, there are great styles, but skating is just, you have so much more, I guess, dimension to it. There's so much more going on. And then the culture of skateboarding, surfers are pretty egotistical, and skaters are just a lot more like friendly. Like, for example, you go paddle out at any major good wave, and I guarantee the locals there, or the people that surf there a lot, are going to be like this, like, fuck is this guy, like, checking you out, like, don't ride my waves, right? And then skateboarding is just like, you come in there and they're like, hey, what's up, man? What's your name? Oh, that trick was great. Well, like people, it's like instant camaraderie when you see someone with a skateboard. If they're, unless they're mall grabbing or pushing Mongo, never mind. But no, it's like you just automatically, like, you could be in another country and see a dude on a skateboard. You guys might not even speak the same language, but you'll probably be hanging out, like skating together, you know, figuring it out. It's just, it binds us like glue. And so that's one thing about skating that I love so much, is just that kind of, that family element. You know, everyone loves on each other, and everybody is constantly like hyping each other up. It's the biggest hype machine ever. That is just so like invigorating.
Dude, there is so much power in community, and a community that can build like a safe container. And not just that, but even like when they hype you up, like that, just like you said, fucking really makes a huge difference. And it really sounds like you like you said, you were like lucky enough to be born into a family that was tight, had a good tribe, you know, with a high vibe or whatever. And then you go into surfing. That's also kind of like a, you know, it builds tribe. And then you found skating, where it sounds like you found like the best community. I mean, not saying that the skating community is better than your family, but just like more open and
No,
accepting.
it's just like love all around. Like, I've somehow been very, very fortunate to navigate all these pathways where it's like love is around always. Not a lot of hate, which is great, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just a nice thing, you know? It's just always awesome to just be part of, like, I don't know, part of every community. Like when I moved to Charleston, I was like, oh, go hang out with the surf guys and the skate guys and the artists and the musicians. And I was like, you know, go everywhere. And like, and everybody is just, oh man, there's just so much variety in the world. And that's one of the most beautiful things. I love it so much.
It's the spice of life, dude.
Get the spice of life.
So you graduate from college, you are on your path to being the best potter you can be, or, you know, I don't know, is that what it went, or like, so what happened after college, I guess? Like, how did you find your
Oh,
way
man.
after college into the
Well,
professional world?
so like when I got out of college, and this is for, if we have any potential viewers that are thinking of going to college, and maybe at some point in time this is seen by some people that, hey, if that's the case, you're thinking about going to college, especially for art, really look into some like business courses, or like something with money management, something to that extent, because um, business and even marketing, whatever it may be, those things would really, really help you out. Definitely help you if you want to start your own business. So what I was kind of planning on doing whenever I left college was like, I was wanting to go do some sort of apprenticeship with a bigger potter or a bigger artist, and go somewhere in the US, wherever it may be, and then get an apprenticeship and go from there. But I just never did. I got back to Wilmington and then got caught back in like the hometown trap of just like being comfortable, being familiar, being around all my friends, and then just kept going with that. During this whole time though that I was in Wilmington, I mean, I worked like, I was a sushi chef for, oh yeah, really weird. Anyways, it's super random. I was working in food and beverage for a while, kind of did that a long time, like high school, and then, you know, college, and then like after college, I was hoping to get a different job and nothing was really panning out. So I was like, I'll go back to food and bev because I can always get a job there. And I was working there doing the sushi stuff. And then I got a job doing retail at the skate barn in Hampstead, North Carolina. They used to have a skate shop called Double Wide Skate Shop. And I was in there managing, I guess. Well, my friend Scott was managing first, and I think he left, and then I guess I took over when he left or something. But, anyways, it was hilarious. It was it was literally in a double wide trailer, and it was on Highway 17, which is a super busy highway. But like nobody would stop in the shop. It was like nobody. I think no one even knew what the hell it was.
Oh shit.
So, but like the skate barn is right behind that. Skate barn is like really well known by most skaters, definitely in the southeast. It's like one of my favorite places to skate. I love it. It's amazing. Big ups, Jimmy. But so I started working there. So I started working retail and had a pretty decent knack for like customer service just because I was dealing with like people face to face with sushi. And then I think I'm just a personable individual. Like I can talk to people easily. And I had a buddy working at a place called Surf City Surf Shop in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. His name's Cheeto.
Yeah, awesome name.
Yeah, it's not his real name, but we just call him Cheeto. His name's Chris. But anyways, he was managing this surf shop, and it was a way bigger surf shop, way nicer, more money, all that sort of stuff. And he asked, if I was willing to maybe start working there, and I was like, dude, I'd love to. So I ended up leaving the one place, going over there and going to Surf City and then working retail. So, I mean, God knows I did that for like 5 years, I think.
And were you still making pottery like at least part-time?
Yes, actually. So during that time, I had multiple studio spaces in Wilmington. Like I would have one for like a year, next one, another year, next one, somewhere. So I had like all these different studio spaces. But during that time, I was, I think I called this was maybe early on. And I think it was just like, I think I called it like Colin Peterson Studios or something like that. And, God, it was so bad. I made like a business card for it too. And I did, I think like blind contour drawings of like bottles, just like little doodles. And then that's all it was like, that was my business card. It was like a business card with these little bottle doodles all over it. And like, I had them printed off and I gave them to one of my buddies and he was like, yo, what is this shit? Did you like draw on this or something? And it was like, it just made me go like, oh damn, that sucks.
Yeah. So and
I basically, I was like, okay, well then I got to do something else. So then I started up something with, it's actually an ex-girlfriend of mine helped me come up with the name, but it was super cheesy. And she helped with like logo design and stuff, but it was called Modern Lines Pottery Supply. That's what it's called, Modern Lines Pottery Supply. I don't even know what the hell that meant.
It honestly sounds to me like she was riffing off your old business cards because it was just line drawings, right? So this is a modern version of the lines, the evolution. So anyway, and then.
So anyways, but during this whole time I was always creating. I had my own wheel and I had my own kiln. So I was able to create work the entire time I was doing all this stuff. There was a period where I was like either in or out of, a studio where maybe I couldn't find one, whatever it was. And like my shit would just live in my parents' garage and then move it out when it was time to go somewhere else. So yeah, so I just had multiple different ones. I had 2 places I lived at where I had an at-home studio where I just made a studio in the garage or something like that. But I never created like as much as when I moved to this other studio, which was with my friend Colby Bird, who he has a company called Shelton Metal in Wilmington, and he's a jeweler and just a phenomenal jeweler and really driven and extremely talented. And working with him, like being in the same space with him, was super good for me because it got my creative juices just like flowing. And I was like, man, this guy's crushing it. He's
Dude, it
making
sounds like you got that mentorship you were looking for after college anyway, in a way.
yeah. I mean, there was multiple people in my life that were always doing amazing stuff artistically, and have, been able to really kind of guide me or be like, yeah, try this or whatever. But excuse me, Colby was definitely one who was super, and at least to me, he seemed very successful. And I was like, holy crap, like this guy's crushing it. What's the secret, And he's like I said, he's super talented, but he's also like really smart about like his business and like how he promotes things, and like he makes it look like he spent a shit ton of money on it when I know he probably like somehow didn't, but everything
So
looks,
he's thrifty.
yeah, he is. So he really kind of got me to push myself a little more, and I got a studio space with him, like I said, and I just started pumping out work then, and that really got me going. And that was probably like 2 years prior to me moving, give or take. And then I got an offer to do a sushi chef thing here in Charleston, and was in a really shitty relationship with somebody, and we like basically just broken up, and I had the opportunity and was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get the hell out of Wilmington because I don't want to like be here anymore. It's kind of feeling like a lost boy, like a Peter Pan lost boy or something like that, like stuck in that town and never gonna grow up. I just felt like I wasn't doing anything. So I moved to Charleston and started working the sushi thing, which gave me more money, and I was single and I was hanging out with my buddy, well, Connor Locke. So, and that guy was like my next kind of mentor or someone I could like look to for guidance on being like, professional and successful at what I'm doing. And Connor just like had all his shit together there and really motivated me to try and start my own thing. So I had, the Modern Lines, Pottery Supply crap, whatever. And Connor basically was just like, dude, if you want, I can help you rebrand and stuff. So we worked together, and like, yeah, he came up with my logo, all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride. I'm like really blown away by just how much it's grown, or how, many people I've dealt with, and just the stuff I've made, which has just been really, really exciting for me. But, and actually, I don't know if I've told you this, but so I actually got a new job.
Okay, tell me more.
So I got a job. I'm teaching middle school now.
What?
I'm a middle school art teacher.
You're Mr. Peterson?
Yeah, Mr. P. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I got
So cool.
I got a position doing that, which like that was super random how that came about. But long story short, it was something where I was like, okay, it's something I can do that I can be passionate about. I can get paid pretty well, and I get ample time off where I'm getting paid during that time. Like I can create all that stuff at the same time while making, money this way. Like my buddy said, he said, you got to stack before you drip. So I was like, all right, he's right. So I'm just trying to make as much money as I can doing what I'm doing, and then still being creative, still making my pottery, and then implementing some of that sort of stuff into like my lesson plans with the kids I'm teaching. So it's like, I mean, every day I get to be around art, which is pretty sweet.
Man, and it's so cool that you get to influence those like young minds. That is so dope.
Like the teachers that were there and did that for me. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like some of the kids are very talented, but a lot of them are still like, I mean, the project they were working on is like the draw by grid, draw by square. And that's great and all for directions and stuff. But I think for like creativity wise, I'm like, man, I want to give them a little bit more. But I understand it's just trying to show them like the basics of certain things. But some of those kids like are past that. And I'm like, let's do something a little different. So I'm going to try and implement more clay and ceramics into their curriculum and really make it happen.
Oh my god, that's so dope. Quick question about the teaching gig. Do you have like, were you given like a lesson plan kind of that you are suggested to adhere to kind of thing?
not necessarily with art. You know, it's kind of pretty loose. I mean, you definitely have certain things um that kids are like, basically there's this thing called like a SLO, which is like student learning objective. And that's pretty much where you create this plan specifically for one of your classes to show whatever it was, the standards that, you know, needed to be shown. And that's a lot of times what they'll look at as kind of like an overall picture. But I mean, from what I gather, and bear in mind, I'm like really new. I'm super green with this. I'm like 2 months, almost a little bit more in. So
Man, how exciting.
it's a trip. It's a freaking trip, man. But uh, as for like other lesson plans and stuff, I'm actually currently enrolled in this thing called PACE, which is a way to get your alternate teaching certification. So it's pretty much through this course that you take over the, I don't know, course of like, I don't know, it's like, I think a year or 2 years, or maybe it's longer. It might be 3 years. I really don't know. But it's broken up in these little like segments and stuff and these sections. And then you teach your normal job and then do these classes at the same time and then work towards your teaching certification. So that's kind of what I've been doing. But because I already have my bachelor's, especially bachelor's in fine arts, I was able to kind of like work towards this and be like, okay, I guess I want to be a teacher. And yeah, here I am, you know. But it's just been like, yeah, it's been really kind of crazy. And then I still have like stuff I'm working on at the studio. Like I literally was just up in there today, and then I was there the day before, and like, so I have 2 weeks off from school, so that's like time I'm taking to actually um, refill all my inventory and make new shit. So I'm stoked.
Dude, that's really dope. And that kind of reminds me of a subject that I feel like it's really important to all of the brave souls who decide to find their own creative way in the world, whether you're being an artist in, what we consider like fine arts, normal art like sculpture, pottery, painting, or if you're like a scientist, that you are just kind of creating your own niche and making your own way. And that's a really nice way for you to kind of balance the having the security of a stable income also while contributing to your society and your community, because you really are, man. Like just having like a good, like just a teacher that isn't like fuck my life, I bet would be just like a ray of sunshine to any child
Trip.
out there.
It's a trip, you know. Yeah, that was one thing, you know, is like as I'm getting older too, like I I'm, you know, in a relationship, you know, like things are kind of pressing down a little bit more, right? Just normal like social constraints and like, oh, you got to save for retirement and this, and that. I'm like,
Oh
wait, what?
shit.
You know, things like that, and like good health insurance, all that. And you know, I was busting my butt with the pottery, but I was also working another like side hustle at Quai doing the Szechuan stuff. And I was like, man, I just need some stability, and this is like a little too much right now. And maybe I need to get that stability first, and then reassess what's going on with trim and like how can I go about it this way. And it's really nice because right now I'm at a point where I don't need to rely on trim to, you know, to survive. I have a full-time job that's doing that. Now that that frees up the ability to actually create more along the lines of like what I really want to make and less about what I need to make. And I had a buddy, my friend Kyle said to me, he's a potter as well and a teacher, and he was like, "Yeah, man, your work's looking really great. It's very consistent. All it just looks really safe." And I was like, "Whoa, that's spot on. Like it is. Like my work was very just safe. It was nothing. I wasn't pushing myself. I wasn't getting crazy with it. Just doing really simple, like cylindrical shapes with matte glazes because that's what people liked and that's what I could sell the shit out of. But now I don't have to rely on that. I don't have to rely on like what people like. I'm going to make what I want, and I'm going to make it, and I'm going to think it's great. And people will probably be receptive to it. I would think they like my
Hell
stuff.
yeah, dude.
So it's going to allow me to just free up that ability to just do that. And I'm really, really excited about that.
And that right there, like finding a balance between the stable income, whether you decide to do that by teaching, by becoming a coach, selling more commercial stuff, which, there's really nothing, there's no wrong way as long as you're like kind of doing it out of love and like a good purpose, out of like a positive intention. And I feel like everybody does that, like we're all kind of trying to find our way between like our passions and like our fucking Maslow's hierarchy of needs bottom parts, like a shelter and food and health, balancing all that. Now you are really busy with your job, relationship, you got your art that you're working on and working, pushing those boundaries. Then you also have skating and surfing. So, do you have any best practices that with time you've learned how to optimize your day, like how your energy flows? Do you have a routine?
I had one that's kind of it's a little whack right now just because it's like I'm still acclimating to this new job and that taking up almost all my time. But right now it's like if I want to get things done, my best thing is to create an actual like list, write stuff down. That to me, writing anything down, even daily journaling has been like huge for me, but writing stuff down that I need to know and then like literally going through and crossing it off. The physical action of doing that, it's like, I don't know, it just works for me really well. And it's like ingrained in my head that, okay, this is what you're going to do. This is how your day's been planned out. And if I do that and I stick to that, then like I'm done faster. I'm not all sporadic and kind of frazzled because I'm like, what am I doing? What am I supposed to, oh, what was I going to do? Oh, I'm not wasting time. I already know what I'm doing. I knock it out. And then it allows me for more time for whatever else I want to do because there's a lot of shit I want to do and I really don't have the time. So making those lists is like super, for me, is very important. Very important.
Nice, dude. Do you feel, I know right now you have a job that you kind of have to prioritize the schedule, but whenever you're kind of like completely free to do whatever with your time, do you feel like the morning versus the night is like better for you in being creative? Or is it kind of like just the same as long as you go to your studio, you can tap into the creative energy? Or do you have like any other preferences to create?
For me, it's like first thing in the morning after like coffee and sitting for a moment, that's when I'm like, ooh, all these ideas start coming to me. That's when I'll get something out and start writing stuff down. Like, oh, that's a great idea. A lot of times. And, I've listened to like Tim Ferriss and stuff, and it's like, start journaling like first thing you do when you wake up. Spend like 10 minutes just writing random thoughts, whatever it may be. And I've come up with some really cool ideas doing that. And yeah, I mean, for me, I think the morning time is normally when it starts, and then if I'm like I need to act on it right then and there, and if it's like because if I can't get there because I'm working or whatever it is, I'll do the same thing. I'll write my stuff down and then know, okay, when I'm out of here, I go straight to there. I'm gonna try and knock this out real quick and get it going, and then on to the next. But yeah, when I have the free time, normally it's like morning times is when I really get going and I'm like ready to go. Afternoon time, I don't know. I want to be outside, I guess, the whole time. I'm like, oh, I just want to be outside during that time, especially right now in the wintertime. It's been so nice. So, but yeah, I guess I'm a morning type of person when it comes to that sort of stuff. And then night can go down, but just hasn't in a while. I don't know why. It just hasn't. I haven't
It's
done that.
winter. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, I want to be home, like all cozy and like watching Mandalorian or something. That's all I want to do.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It's good to take care of yourself. And you are a pretty healthy dude. I mean, you kind of have to be to not have health insurance and be out there skating and surfing.
Yeah, I guess, or stupid, one or the other.
No, dude, I think just healthy because really you like every time I see you posting like a meal or something you're doing, like you're always doing like well, not always, there's always like there are some parties and stuff, but the healthy shit, like you're eating acai bowls at home and you're making these like super healthy but dang looking meals and stuff. So before we wrap up here, do you have any like what are your like best lessons with your personal health and wellness? Because I feel like a lot of artists sometimes feel like they have to sacrifice their health, whether it's mental or physical, to just kind of stick to their creativity and be good at it. So what makes you value your health, man?
Well, hold on. First of all, I'd like to apologize for all these dinging noises you're probably hearing because I'm in a text chain with some people. God knows.
No
Keep
worries,
going.
dude. No worries.
Stop texting me, guys. I don't know how to mute it on my computer without muting you.
It's okay.
Oh my God. All right. Anyways. Oh, dude, that's insane. This is like 17 texts. Okay. Anyways, I'd say like my best practices like for staying healthy, or was
Yeah.
it okay? Honestly, just be active, like be in constant motion. Like it's like once you stop, you lose it, right? So that's how it is for me with like skating, surfing, everything I do. It's if I don't do it, then I'm afraid I'm going to lose it, you know? And that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's good to take breaks from stuff, give yourself a little bit of like, whoa, if you're doing a lot, it allows you to come back and reassess it more properly and be like, oh, this is what I was doing wrong or whatever it may be. But that, and then, you know, just in terms of like what I eat and stuff, I mean, yeah, enjoy yourself, but I'm primarily plant-based just because I figure whatever I can help cut out, you know, my carbon footprint and hurting animals or whatever it may be, it's kind of something I feel like I can do. It's easy, you know, that's an obtainable goal, and I've done it for a while now, and it's really simple. You know, it's only rarely that I'm like, oh, it's me, but most of the time, seeing plants, and I feel great, honestly. And yeah, I don't know. I don't smoke cigs and stuff, and I don't really drink alcohol too much. I mean, I did have a Peroni earlier. Yikes! But other than that, I'm probably gonna rip my hair out from this text.
No worries, man. And we can start wrapping it up too.
Yeah,
But
just
before we get going, any last advice or any message, any activity that you got going on, projects that you want to share with us?
just 2021 is gonna have a lot less digging, and just a lot more new stuff. I'm pretty excited just to be like because I'm going to come at it from a completely different sort of point of view, not one that's going to be completely dictated by finances, which I think has a tendency to try and steer my creativity a certain way. So I don't have those boundaries anymore, and I'm really excited to see what I'm going to do. Plus, I have more money to spend on things to make my stuff better.
Ballin'.
You know, no, not by any means, but more than before. So let's just say I'm not as poor. Let's just say that that makes sense.
Diamond encrusted pottery coming at you soon. Wholesale prices.
Yeah, right. But you know, and then like advice to people coming up and wanting to be artists. I mean, do it. You know, if you're creative, like get out there and do it. There's no reason not to. Like, just do it. Don't care what anyone else says. Push yourself and just, you know, well, yes, don't care what everyone says, but like at the same time, like, yes, criticism is good sometimes, you know, and you have to have a thick skin and, you know, listen when people give you advice, and yeah, just bust your butt, and it can happen. It most definitely can. I mean, I'm not necessarily a success story, but when I see myself, if I go back in time and, you know, if I was to see myself now, you know, I'd say, yeah, I'm successful now for sure compared to what I was. Yeah. So, and yeah, anyone can do it. Just got to try.
Be kind and remember that growth is a continuous cycle, not like a steady destination.
Oh man, yeah, seriously, like that's another thing is like life can change at an instant. You don't know, things can be, you never know when things are going to happen. So, um, just be open to opportunity. That was something I really did when I got here. I just told myself when I moved to Charleston, I was like, I'm going to be like the yes man. Like people are going to be like, hey man, what are you doing tonight? You want to come out? Yes, yes, yes. And that opened up so many doors for me. And I met so many amazing people. And you know, this is like home now. So it's pretty wild. But yeah, just, you know, you don't know unless you go. So just,
Hell yeah.
you know, put your best foot out there and get after it.
Hell yeah, dude. Colin, thank you so much for chatting with me and sharing all this information with everybody. It was an honor and a pleasure, and hopefully we'll get to see each other sometime soon in real life.
Yeah, IRL, that'd be great. You know, hopefully when things calm down or whatever, or maybe we can go outside for
Social
a beverage,
distancing.
with our masks on 6 feet away from each other. That sounds awesome.
I'll wear a shield.
Yeah, please, yeah. I'll wear actually a trash bag over my face and everything. I'm just gonna be completely in a trash bag. That's what I'm rocking.
Seems pretty
okay?
safe.
I'm fine. I'm just sweating profusely.
I'm detoxifying while I'm protecting myself.
Yeah, I have a nice sheen on my face. Oh God, it was great talking to you.
You too, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, and good luck with all this. This is rad. All right, I'll chat with you soon.
All right, thanks, Colin. Have a great night.
Bye.
Peace.